June is Audiobook Month. Join Viviana, the Enchantress of Books, and the Audiobook Lovin series as she celebrates the authors and narrators who bring your favorite stories to life.
Hi everyone, I'm Heather Kay Ling, a fresh voice in the audiobook industry. Most of my current titles are YA fantasy, such as the one I'm sharing with you today. It's called The Dragon Spy by Bill Blume. It was a great read with a mix of fantasy, history, and teenage spy vibes, a cross between X-Men and Alias. Here's a brief clip. When Maria couldn't find Nevada outside the mansion, she'd given up and gone back to sit with Pockets in the dining hall. "I don't see what the big deal is," he said between bites of a roll drowning in butter. "I'm worried about her." Maria loved Pockets, and while she wasn't surprised he hadn't noticed Nevada growing more distant ever since South Carolina, his dismissal of her concerns righteously ticked her off. She's been off for a while now. It's like she's holding on to something too tightly, and it's got her ripping apart at the seams. Nevada's always pissed off about something. The way he tossed that out there only angered her more. The glare she gave him should have bored a hole through his thick skull, and the fact he wasn't picking up on that made her want to grab him by the throat and throttle him. A bright light flashed, but it didn't come from the wall of the windows. Instead, it came in through the door to the foyer. Pockets and Maria jumped to their feet at the same time. No way that was lightning. Pockets ran for the front of the mansion. The flash hadn't included any thunder, but the thrum of energy behind it vibrated through the walls. "That's definitely Ava." Maria was a step behind him with Dr. Howard chasing after them. "Everyone stay in the dining hall," Dr. Howard ordered as she followed them to the front of the building. The front door flew open as 3 of the girls from Lynna's barracks fled back into the mansion. "Are any of you hurt?" Dr. Howard asked as Maria and Pockets kept going for the open door. Ava sprinted across the lawn from the barracks. A path of scorched earth reached out behind her and into the forest. 2 women in dark clothing descended on Ava like wraiths pursuing a nymph. One of them pulled out a gun, and even though there wasn't the crack of a gunshot, Ava dropped face down in the driveway. Pockets launched out of the mansion faster than Maria. "Ava!" He pulled ahead as they both sprinted to reach Ava before the 2 gray women. One of his black holes erupted in the air to the left of the gray woman. A volley of machine gun fire spilled out of the hole, but as soon as he'd formed his hole, another opened beside the gray woman and another next to Pockets. The bullets he'd released came back at him and Maria. Maria shifted into her intangible state. She couldn't reach Pockets to grab him and make him intangible too. Even as the world melted into a fog with slow-moving shadows, she saw Pockets' silhouette dive to his left. She hoped he was diving, because otherwise he was falling. She couldn't tell if the bullets had hit him. She ran for the gray woman who mimicked Pockets' powers. She raised her fists and aimed for the center of the gray woman's chest. Before she would have passed through her, Maria shifted out of her intangible state and rejoined the normal flow of time. For that split second, she moved superhuman fast. When her fists nailed the gray woman, she knocked her back 20 feet and onto her back. Maria shifted back to intangible before the gray woman could hit her. She shifted in and out, landing punches on the other woman's head and stomach. On the 3rd strike, the gray woman grabbed hold of Maria's shirt. When Maria shifted, the contact turned the gray woman intangible too. Before she could do anything to break the contact, something smashed into her temple. Only after the fact, knocked to the ground and shifted back into a tangible state, did Maria realize it was the gun the woman had shot Ava with. Maria looked up as the barrel aimed at her. She struggled to focus and shift, but she wasn't able to. Nevada tackled the gray woman as she pulled the trigger. The dart whistled past Maria's left shoulder, missing her. Nevada and the gray woman wrestled on the ground. Maria tried to stand, but as soon as she put her weight on both feet, she fell. The blow to her head still had her spinning. Her next attempt to stand hit her with a wave of nausea. Nevada screamed and then went silent. One of the gray women shouted something. Was that German? Pockets! Out of the corner of her eye, she saw the gray woman running into the woods. She didn't see him. He'd hit the ground, but she never saw him stand. Where was he? She screamed his name again, but no answer came. She crawled over to Nevada. Her friend pawed at the air as if still trying to reach up at the gray woman who was no longer there. Nevada? Maria placed her hand on her shoulder. Are you? Hands like iron latched onto Maria's shoulders. In an instant, they'd switched positions with Nevada on top and pinning Maria to the ground. Nevada hissed, a slow and drowsy noise as her glassy eyes seemed to stare at Maria without recognition. Maria screamed her friend's name, which made Nevada blink in confusion. The hesitation gave Maria a moment to see 3 darts buried in Nevada's torso. She assumed the darts were what the gray woman used to knock out Ava. But even with 3 of them flooding her system, Nevada was still awake and moving. Despite her slow movements, Nevada had Maria pinned. Something sticky dripped from her lips onto Maria's face. The stench of blood was all over Nevada like too much perfume. Let me go! Maria didn't see a hint of acknowledgement. Nevada! Her friend growled like some dog, a shiver running through her. Maria fought against her grip, but she couldn't break free. Nevada's fangs lunged at Maria's throat. They missed as someone grabbed Nevada from behind and lifted her off the ground. Stop fighting me! Agent Meals held onto Nevada and finally pinned her face down on the ground. Once he seemed confident he had Nevada trapped, he looked back at Maria. The guards at the entrance were killed. Please tell me Nevada didn't do that. Maria shook her head and then quickly stopped because the movement made her dizzy and nauseous. I think it was Lynna's gray woman. Anyone else get hurt? I think Pockets got shot. Where is he? Agent Meals grunted as he pushed down harder on the still struggling Nevada. Maria forced herself to sit up despite her dinner's attempts to lurch out of her stomach. Other than Agent Meals and Nevada, Maria didn't see anyone else. I think the gray woman took him and Ava. I hope you enjoyed that. You can get the audiobook on Audible, and you can find me at Heather Kay Ling on IG, and my website is heatherkayling.com. Thank you for listening.
If you enjoyed the Audiobook Lovin series and you want more, join the Audiobook Lovin podcast Patreon for early access to podcasts, exclusive content like the Would You Rather game and dinner party guests, and additional incentives such as bloopers, graphics, and much more. Support the podcast by becoming a Patreon at www.patreon.com/audiobooklovin. Thank you for joining Viviana and her guests for this podcast, and we hope you tune in again as we continue to celebrate Audiobook Month. The Audiobook Lovin series is hosted by Viviana, the Enchantress of Books. Please make sure to visit the main page linked within the post to learn more about the entire Audiobook Lovin series and the enchanting author and narrator guests who have joined us over the years. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please consider leaving a review wherever you listened. Until next time, happy listening. Audiobook Lovin hopes you have enjoyed this program.